Hello everybody, Robert Lewis here. Today we're working on my truck again. I've got a coolant leak. Look at all that down there. It's dripping down from, not from here. I replaced that just last week. It has continued to leak. All right, let's take a look at this pump. This is the pump originally made for this truck, but Ford decided not to use it. This is made by Navistar. It has a coolant filter built into it. Check. Look at these. I got coolant hoses too. These are silicone hoses. They're lifetime. Wow, there's they look a lot different than the ones on my truck, that's for sure. They're nice and shiny. They say Dieselsite on them. There's a ton of weaving in there. I don't know what that is. The fibers. Man, those are nice. I'm not sure what that's for. This is the 203-degree thermostat. I don't know what I'm running in my truck. It's either 195 or 192, and that's what most people use, and that's what they sell at all the auto parts stores like O'Reilly's or AutoZone. This is a special one though, to run warmer. Apparently this is the temperature that this truck was designed to run at, and you will experience, people say 2 to 4 mpg higher. I would love that, because this truck gets 14 on a good day. There it is. This sucker's heavy. This little shut off here is for your coolant filter, goes right here. This shuts it off so you're not draining it all over the place. Thermostat goes right here. Yeah, I think this is cast iron. The one that so I have one on my truck right now. I put it on in 2017 or 2018. I was looking through my records. I did it on Christmas Eve during the day that day. And it was from O'Reilly's. It's made of aluminum. It's so-so. I mean, that's why it's leaking. It's only been, what, 6-7 years? Oh, the filters, yes. I got 3 of them in here. So with this thing being a cast iron and higher quality piece of material, I have high expectations for this to last a really long time. So I'm gonna paint it, and I'm gonna mask it off first. Now I'm gonna be removing the water pump. First, you gotta get all the extra things out of the way, like all the hoses, the fan, all of the electrical connectors, everything. So I'm gonna get started on that right now. So take a look at this hose here. I replaced these 10 years ago, and with all the heat cycling and everything, these do swell over time. They start to crack. I've been watching them. You can see how this is flared out a little bit. You can see how it's swollen a little bit. It's showing signs of wear. I'm not terribly concerned, but you know, that whole kit that I bought came with new ones. So 10 years is probably plenty. So it's a good thing to replace them. All right, next I have to take off the fan and the clutch and the shroud. And to do that, you need to hold the fan still while you're loosening the bolts. You need a special tool. You can rent these from any O'Reilly's, AutoZone, any kind of place like that, and it's free. You have to buy it and then you return it and you get all your money back. So it's a great deal because this is $80 and it's something you need once every 5 years. And this thing's brand new. Pulling it out of the package, out of the plastic right now. So I'm gonna go use this now. So what I need to do here is, you see this really big nut right here. I've got to use probably this, or maybe even this big pipe wrench, one of them. I don't have a wrench, even a crescent wrench that's big enough to go around that, but that's what you're gonna be loosening. And the pulley behind, you need to hold that still. And so you use this tool to grab onto those. There are 4 nuts around the outside of that. So you can use this, you tighten this thing right here to close that distance there and grab on nice and tight. And that's what you'll use to hold it still. Spoiler alert, this method is not gonna work. Does anybody have any guesses on how many different methods I'm gonna try here today? It's more than 1, it's more than 2. Wait and see. Oh my gosh. This thing is a piece of junk. These tiny little gears just completely wore out when I put a little force on it. It has this little ratcheting thing here, and as you squeeze this tighter, this grabs on, and those little teeth are so fine. And this must be some really soft steel, because as soon as I put any tension on it, that just slipped. Those little gears, or gear teeth, stripped. So this $80 tool is ruined. I'm gonna go return it. This is my next plan. I went and watched another YouTube video. So in the tensioner, you can put a stubby little extension, and then you put a screwdriver in there, wedge it in good and tight. It leans against there. And so now I'm gonna take the top of that bolt and push it that way, so twist it, you know, righty tighty, lefty loosey. And because this screwdriver can't spin, it's pressing against there, that should provide enough tension to loosen this. Fingers crossed. Okay, that screwdriver did not work. Wasn't sure if it would. This is a little bigger. This is just a round file. I think it's gonna be pretty strong steel, though. I'm gonna wedge this down in those threads. See if that doesn't do it. Oh, lovely. Snapped off the end of that file. All right, so now I'm using an air chisel. If I just knock that far side of that bolt, push it over. I've read about this. I'm not the only one who's done this. I'm not the only one who's gotten this desperate. Well, I just got back from AutoZone and I got this kit. This ought to do the trick. Famous last words. I even see Ford 7.3 liter on there. Let's go try it out. I need 2 hands. All right, so here's the one that fits, 54 millimeter. And then this one here, 48 millimeter. Put that in like that. And hold it like that. Line it up on those bolts. And then I have the ratchet extension in here in the tensioner. Alright, so one hand is going to hold this in place until I get tension on it. And then twist with this. It's under tension. I just need some muscle. Oh, wait, that's good. Oh my gosh, I finally got it. Okay, now I'm going to be removing my serpentine belt. Next, I'm going to remove all of the bolts holding that pump on. Alright, so here's the old pump. I will be taking this pulley off and putting it on there, but you can see pretty easily here what the main differences are. This is the thermostat housing. We got that right up there. On this side, this is the lower radiator hose. This is where water comes in, gets pumped through the thermostat, and then comes out to the it goes through the whole truck, and then but then right here is where it comes out and goes to the radiator. Up here, this is where our filter is going to go, and then the inlet side is moved over here. So it's a very different hose. You can see over here. It's a very different layout. So different hoses are needed. While I'm talking about hoses, this is the rubber hose I just took off. And there's one single layer of this threading inside here. This is the new silicone hose I just got. There's 4 layers of that threading in here. It looks a whole lot better. You can see that it's built a lot stronger. So this is gonna be great. Also, my pump was failing right under here. This is where the leak was coming from. So it was inside here, underneath there. So it must be that bearing inside there has failed. And so this hose was right underneath, and this is the one that was all wet. And you can see, you can even see some of these whitish dried lines because it's been slowly leaking for a long time, and so you get that residue or buildup. And then also look how swollen that is at the end. So these are definitely at the end of their life. So I just wanted to share those observations with you. Next, I will be removing the sensor, putting it on here, and there's one more thing. I don't use that. There's a new one. I'm going to mount it over here because we're going to have to reroute the heater hose in a different way, and that is why I have that extra piece there. I know yesterday when I opened that up, I said, what's this for? Well, the heater hose attaches in a different location, that's why. And one more observation, you can see all this green staining right here, and it's even up here. The pulley would fling that out and around, and that's how that would happen. Rather than just dripping straight down, gravity would take it like that. It would get flung around, and that's why I noticed it here, and that's why I was suspecting the thermostat housing. I was wrong about that, but I'm glad I have a nice cool blue thermostat housing. I will be mounting that on this baby. Before I get too far, I want to show you these two thermostats. They're very different. The shorter one is the 203, and this longer one here is the, I don't know, 192, 195. It's one of the other thermostats that are more common. So this short one is the one that's needed, so that's what I'm going to be putting in. You've got to clean off the mating surfaces on that block. So I used a putty knife and a Scotch-Brite pad, and look how nice that looks now. Adding RTV is a belt and suspenders move. There is a rubber gasket in there, but this is a good idea if you live in a cold climate. This part's real tricky, putting that pump back on the block without squishing all your RTV all over the place and making a mess. But I had this brilliant idea of putting a bolt in, one of the long ones, and then you can put it in the hole, let it hang there, get the other one, and then it just slides in place without squeezing up and down and getting RTV everywhere. The torque instructions for this go like so. You put them all finger tight, and then you use your torque wrench, torque everything to 10 pounds, and you start in the center bolts and work your way out. Then you wait 10 minutes. Let everything kind of set, and the rubber gasket, it'll flex a little bit. So you come back and you do it 10 minutes later at 15 foot-pounds. And then I'm gonna do it a third time at 18 or 20. And that will be good. We will be done. Done torquing. There's still a lot more to do. I'm down underneath now, and the next step is to install this lower radiator hose. I've already put it in place. It needs to be pushed up a little bit more on the bottom of this pump. There's a little notch that will tell you when it's all the way. That's it. That one's on too. Now you tighten it up. While I'm down here, let's put on the filter too. The next job will be to take this hose, put it on that barb right there, and run it up the side and connect it to that hose that's running right there. There used to be an outlet coming out the very top of the pump, and that's where that heater hose connected, but now we need to take it down this side and connect it right there. That is going to involve us cutting this factory hose right there and then splicing into it. This kit comes with a barb and some extra connectors, some hose clamps. Let's get her done. Now I'm going to put the serpentine belt back on. Well, I've heard that reinstalling this big old propeller is a chore, so I'm gonna get to it. We'll find out. I've done it before, 5 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever. I don't really remember, but it's tricky. You gotta lower all of this in with the shroud and then thread it on and tighten it. By the way, look at all this. That's from using the air chisel. I am not thrilled about that. So use alternate means, unless you don't care. There are tabs down at the bottom where this shroud fits into on either side. Feels pretty tight. So you go 4 gallons of concentrate. I use Shell. And then you top off with distilled water. I should be able to get at least 3 gallons in here. I should check below for leaks. All good. Please join me in crossing your fingers. I'm about to start this up for the first time.
Nothing yet. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to run it up to temp and make sure everything's good.
All right, it's been idling for a few minutes. Let's go check it out. All clear.
Not quite all the way up yet, but let's see if this, that's not warm yet.
So yesterday I finished up this project and I went through that process where I start the truck, bring it up to temperature, everything looked good. So I got in the truck and drove to jiu-jitsu practice for the evening, and when I got there, I looked under. I brought a flashlight with me and looked under the front, and it was raining antifreeze. And so I realized that one of the hoses was not quite tight enough. It was the hose from the coolant overflow reservoir. There's one at the very bottom, and you know, when I connected all these hoses, I used my electric ratchet, and I should have, here's my lesson. I should have gone back and used my a hand tool, like a wrench or a ratchet or that little screwdriver, and just checked everything for proper tightness, because you can't really tell very well with that electric ratchet. So going by hand to make sure those are tight enough is the final step. So I'm gonna go do that now, but this is done. So thank you all for following along. This has been fun. I've had several challenges along the way, so hopefully this has been entertaining for you, watching me run up against all of these and learn things the hard way. If you would like to see more, please follow along, like and subscribe, and leave me a comment below. Tell me what an idiot I am if you want to, or ask me a question. You know, I'm not a trained mechanic. I work at a desk at a computer all day. This is just what I like to do for fun on the evenings and weekends, and so hope you all enjoy it. I will see you on the next one. Bye.